Hi, this is Mary Pohl, your host for the Sales Mastery Summit. How effective are you at getting your asking price with customers? Many sales professionals in this economy are happy to win any business, even if they have to give discounts. Today's expert knows how to win deals and gain happy customers, all without having to give price concessions. With me today is Mark Hunter, author of High Profit Selling. Welcome, Mark.
Hey, thank you for having me on today.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I know you're traveling quite a bit, so we appreciate you making the time for us.
Not a problem.
Well, we're on to a very important topic today, so I'm sure our viewers want us to dive right in. Companies are getting a lot smarter today, and they're expecting sales reps not just to win new business, but to win profitable new business. And that isn't a skill that necessarily sales reps have had to focus on before, how to maximize their price that they get out of the deals. So what led you to need to, first of all, embark on finding a method to be more successful in winning high profit business? And how did you know you were onto something that was really working for you?
Well, that's a two-part question. And the first part was I came upon it because companies were struggling getting the profit that they needed because salespeople were just discounting sales. And where this really came about was a few years ago when the economy changed and suddenly it became more difficult to find sales. Well, really what it became more difficult to do was to find prospects. So what happened was salespeople would discount whatever they felt they needed to close whatever sales they could get because they really didn't believe in their own sales process. Now, that may answer the first part of the question, but how did I come across the process? How did I know it worked? We began putting in place some methods and some methodologies that I use to train salespeople with some major Fortune 100 companies and really companies all over the world in a wide variety of industries. And we began to test different things. We began to say, hey, you know what? These worked. These worked. And what's surprising is people say, well, gee, if you're going to raise your price, that involves marketing. Not necessarily. It really involves sales and the salesperson and the salesperson's methodology with which they go out and approach the marketplace. And when we did that, we found it worked, and we were able to get a higher price and happier customers.
So can you give us some insight into what is a process that a sales rep does that I guess it helps them navigate the situations where they typically do end up giving price discounts?
Yes, the number one reason why customers get discounts is because the salesperson doesn't believe in what it is that they're selling. That, without a doubt, I firmly believe that more discounts are given because the salesperson lacks confidence in themselves than really what the customer is really asking for. So what we did was we said, let's take a step back and let's say, how do we build the level of confidence in the salesperson and the process with which they use? Because what we found was that as we increased the confidence in the salesperson, the level of confidence with the customer will increase too. And the customer will pay more based on the level of confidence they have in the sales proposition and the salesperson representing it.
Okay, fabulous. So every sales rep dreads the point in your negotiation where the customer just says your price is too high, and they're now the floor is turned over to you. How do you respond to that situation?
Then they shiver and shake and they go, yeah, I'll give you a discount. Wrong. That's one of the fundamental things that I talk about in my book is the salesperson has to be able to withstand that barrage. Because what I'll argue is that a lot of customers will ask for a discount only because they've been taught that, hey, if they ask for a discount, they'll probably get one. They don't have any means to support it, any means to think they're going to get it, but they just know that if they ask for it, they'll probably get it. So what I say to the salesperson, the first time the customer approaches you and says, hey, your price is too high, give me a discount and I'll look at mine, you totally ignore it. You literally ignore it. It is only the second time, when the second time the customer brings it up, that you address it. But you don't address it, oh yeah, my price is too high, let me give you a discount. No, you address it by asking them a question related to one of their key critical needs that they've shared with you. And this is the whole fundamental process. I cannot allow the discussion to get to price until I, the salesperson, have found out from you, the customer, what your critical needs are, period.
So can you give us an example of what a critical need question would be as a way to manage that price discussion?
Sure, if I'm a software company and I'm selling software to you and you're looking to buy software, I may in my in my process of talking with you have got you to share with me that you have to have this new software installed in order to be able to roll out a whole new line of products that you have coming out next year. So when we start talking about price, I may come back and I may ask you a question. Now, help me understand, how important is this new product launch that you have planned for next year? You see, what I'm doing is I'm now getting you thinking about the need that you have, and that moves you away from price. Is it bulletproof? Is it perfect? No. But what I found is it lessens the focus on price. And sometimes it does completely remove price completely because the customer gets focused back on their critical need.
Okay, that makes sense. So is there, I guess, a step-by-step process that sales reps walk through to possibly avoid the discussion coming up, but essentially to navigate their way through?
Yes, there is. There's really a step-by-step process. And one of the things I lay out in my book, for instance, is an 11-step process that walks you through in terms of how you should be executing that price. How do you hold that price? How do you make sure that you get the price that you want? Now, there's also several other steps, though, because many times you don't even have a relationship with this customer. You haven't done any business at all with them. You're trying to do business first time out of the chute with them.
Okay.
And this is where many salespeople get into a danger because they go, well, if I just discount my price and get this customer to buy from me now, I'll be able to get the price up later. Liar, liar, pants on fire. It's not going to happen. We give that discount the first time, and you know what? That becomes the price-value relationship that customer expects ongoing. So what I want to do is I want to sell my initial offering to you at full price because that establishes full price value relationship and really maintains my profit integrity and maintains your value integrity, because otherwise all I've done is I've just cheapened the product.
Okay. So 11 steps would be a lot to go through, but is there a way that you can give us the highlights so we can get a sense
Sure.
for the full
Yeah.
process?
And let me kind of phrase this a little bit. This 11-step process really has to do with a customer that you're already doing business with and you're looking to increase their price. So that's kind of a framework.
Okay.
One of the key things that I strongly suggest is that you develop a list of what are the benefits that that customer has attained from you over the preceding year. In a key account management relationship, there's going to be any number of phone calls and activities and events that are going to occur over the course of the year. What you want to be able to do is you want to be able to be recording these. Now, recording these not with the cost of what it cost you to provide it, the solution, no, the value of what the customer gained. Because then what this does is this gives you ammunition that you can go in, you're looking to execute this price increase, and you can put this plan on the table and say, hey, look at all of these things that we've done over the past year to help you be more profitable as a company, or you be more engaged as a customer if it's B2C, whatever it might be. But that's just one of the 11 steps.
Okay. Are there other highlights in the 11 steps that you can feature for us?
Sure. Well, I sure, yeah. One of the biggest things is that you, the salesperson, have to be firmly committed in believing in what that price is. Now, let me come back and I'm going to share with you a technique that you can use, whether or not you're selling a price increase in or selling for the first time to a customer. Many times, just not quite comfortable with your price. It feels so high. And I know this is cheesy. Some of you are going to watch this and you go, you have got to be kidding me. But here's what you do. You literally get in the habit of saying to yourself, your price, but about 30 or 40% higher than what your actual price is. Say you have a normal price of $130. I'm just making up an imaginary. It's $130. you're gonna say 20 or 30 times it's $170, $170, $170, $170, $170, $170. And again, you're gonna say, this is really cheesy. But you know what you're doing? You're conditioning your mind to accept 170. So when you say 130, it's a flat out bargain. Because here's the biggest problem that salespeople make. Well, yeah, it's we like to get $130. Well, what's that? If I'm a customer and I'm hearing that, I'm going to go for the kill. You know what? I give you 79 for it, and that's it. That's it. That's all I can give you for it. And you're going to get the discount. You're going to get the discount. If I can't say my price firmly in both words, tone of voice, and body language, I don't believe in my own price, period.
Yeah, that's not the time to mumble and
But
lose your confidence.
it is. I have watched so many salespeople. I was just with an organization this morning. This is a telephone sales group, and I was listening to some of them. They couldn't even recite, and they immediately said, "Oh, the price is X, but I can give you $85." Oh, like, oh man,
Before
why?
there was an objection. Oh my goodness.
Before they're exactly, they're just leaving money on the table. And once you start giving a discount, you will give a discount over and over and over again. It becomes like a drug.
Yeah. Well, and I hate to admit it, but women tend to not ask for the deal as often, aren't as comfortable doing that. So why are you going to offer it? And I shouldn't have set up like that, but smart buyers are going to ask for the discount because you don't get what you don't ask for, but that doesn't mean you have to give it. So,
That's yes, and you know what? That in fact, that's a very good point about women because what I have found is many times, for instance, men will try to, if it's a female salesperson, they'll think they can get a stronger discount out of them or whatever, and they play this game going back and forth. Cut it out.
yeah.
Respect yourself. Be confident. It's the same thing if you are a customer. If you're a customer and you see that salesperson have any kind of hesitation at all, you just go right for the kill and say, well, that price is just way too high. I mean, yeah, why not?
Exactly. So, yeah, you don't get what you don't ask for on either side of the table. So,
Yes.
so Mark, if somebody wanted to be able to dive deeper and understand all 11 steps, where could they go to do that?
Well, really need to pick up the book, High Profit Selling, Amazon.com, great website. Just jump out there to buy it. You can download a chapter of the book from my own website, The Sales Hunter. It's one word, thesaleshunter.com. But I suggest picking up the book. And, you know, the beautiful thing about the book is we've laid it out chapter by chapter to walk you through how do you deal with various strategies. Because sometimes what will happen is that people are into this discounting mode because really what they've got is they've got cheap customers. Well, really what they've got is they've got cheap prospects. So sometimes what I'll say is that if I want to increase my level of profit, increase my price, I have to get better customers, which means I have to get better prospects. So sometimes you got to go all the way upstream where
Okay.
prospects first are created and then bring them down.
Okay. And so you must have some pretty exciting stories to share of clients that you've helped really put more profit back into their deals. Do you have any that you're able to share?
Yeah, I'll share one. I can't give you the name of the company, but this was a company. It's an industrial sales company, and they struggled with price increases. In fact, it was about 7 years running. They had been struggling. They would price increase, and then, you know, just can't get every customer. It just struggle. They called me and said, Mark, would you come in? We know this is what you do. Would you help us? And this is a several billion-dollar company. And I said, yeah, I'd love to. So came in, worked with their salespeople. We executed the plan. We executed the 11-step process. We put in place some other things. And they were able to come out and execute that price increase, that next price increase, beautifully, right on the money with what finance was expecting it to do. So it's very interesting. The next year they said, hey, Mark, would you come on back and do it again? I said, love to. Came on back. You know what? They didn't call me a third time. because they got her. And it was interesting because the VP of sales, for the minute, he said, "Mark, we've got this thing nailed. This is great. This is working well."
So how long were they working at getting a price increase and failing?
If it was they had completed 7 years of failed increases
Oh,
or
jeez.
six, and this was going into the seventh. I can't quite remember for sure, but it
Okay.
was every year they would take a price because this was a manufactured product, a lot of commodity costs going into a lot of other pieces going into it. So every year there was this bump, and they were struggling. So we came in and we just put this process together, and wow, it works because it's not marketing's responsibility, it's the sales organization's responsibility. And when
Right.
sales takes it on and buys into it and understands it and goes through the process, it's amazing what they can achieve.
Okay. Okay. It sounds like the definition of insanity that they kept doing the same thing and expecting a better result. And so
Oh, we
finally
just,
they changed
oh,
their process.
yeah, if we just do this right goal, it'll work. They, yeah, definition of insanity,
So there's
no
a
doubt.
possibility that some of our viewers have been doing the same thing and not changing their approach to price increases and just struggling through it every time. So there
Oh,
is a better
yeah.
way.
Oh yeah, and they start and they rationalize. They rationalize in their mind. I My customer just won't accept a higher. My customer just won't accept a higher price. My customer just won't. I just and we try to rationalize. Well, we'll cut other costs, or we'll make it, or I can. No, no, no. Don't have that attitude. Don't have that attitude. Go out with the attitude that I'm going to maximize the price. And because when I maximize the price, I maximize the confidence the customer has in me and my product offering. And that increases the value. They get more out of it, and I'm getting more out of it.
Makes perfect sense. And you have more profit to work with, so you can provide a better customer experience.
Exactly, because what I've always said is bad salespeople have skinny kids, and that just is not a pretty sight. So,
Not that we want to contribute to obesity, but
no, I'm not going down that road. Please, now that I said that, I'm like, wow, I'm gonna get mail. Like, what are you? No, calm down, calm down, calm down. Calm down. Okay,
two
okay,
skinny kids, yeah.
okay.
So, Mark, as people are, latching onto the common sense of avoiding discounting at any and all costs because that isn't necessary to win customers, where do they get stuck? How do people get tripped up through the 11 steps or, you know, they don't get through it appropriately?
Yeah, the biggest thing they get stuck on is that they themselves are not confident in the process themselves. And this is again, you cannot if I'm going to go out and sell product X at X price, I have to know my strategy before I start the sales process. And this is where a lot of people get into trouble. A lot of people say, "Well, I'll just start talking to the customer." If I don't know, it would be like saying back before Google, back before there were decent maps, getting in a car and saying, "I'm going from New York to LA and I'm just going to drive and I think somehow I will get there." No. Yeah, you can get there. But boy, it'd sure be a lot better if you had a map or Google or, you know, those are the two. That is what happens when salespeople don't have a process. And where I love to come back and really add to this is with the sales manager. This is where the sales manager's role comes in to be the strategist to help the salesperson develop the strategy and buy into it and believe it. Once I buy into it and believe it, it is amazing how much more confident I will be when I go out and communicate it. The problem is too many salespeople say, "Well, I'll just go out and give it a try." Well, I'm sorry. Go out and giving it a try is not exactly how you win an NFL football game or how you win a Major League Baseball game. No, no, you just don't go out and try. No, you go out with your plan and you've practiced and you know what you're doing. That's where people get tripped up. They go out without a plan.
Okay. So to build that confidence, we have our plan in place. We have set our price in the mirror 30% higher 40 or 50 times so that we believe that that price is worth it when we have to present it to our customer. We have practiced our approach.
Mhm.
So, maybe even role played through that conversation with the customer after they say, well, your price is too high. Anything else that we can do to build our confidence?
Yes, in fact, let me kind of paraphrase the whole thing because there's three elements that are very, very critical when I want to be communicating what my price is. And here's what they are. One, I want to know from the customer two to three critical needs that they have. I shared this with you at the beginning. B, I also need to have a sense for what is their element of time. What is their element of time? When I understand their element of time, it gives me a tool with which I can leverage because then I know if they have to make a decision or if they don't have to make a decision. And the third piece is I want to understand what is their price value relationship. Now, that's a spooky one. How do I know that? How do I know that? Is I ask customers, how have you made purchases like this in the past? It's amazing. You ask a customer that. How have you made decisions like this in the past? You ask a question like that of a customer early on in the sales process, and they'll generally give you some very good information. But what you can begin to understand is A, who else is involved, how long of a process they go through, and some of the critical thinking elements that they use. You see, what this does is this begins to I can begin to then form a picture of what they need to know before they're going to make their decision. So if I know that, plus their timeline, what is their value of time, what is their sense of time, and two or three critical needs. Now I've got the ammunition, so to speak, that I can begin openly talking about price to the customer.
Okay. So that is, I would imagine, a big part of the process that you're referring to then.
That is a huge part. When you can master those three things, and this is what you have to practice and you have to have your plan for. What are the questions that I'm going to ask the customer to be able to help them share with me what those are? When I do that, I will almost always guarantee you that you will come out of it with a higher price or less discount than you would have had to have given if you had not gone in with that particular strategy.
Before we wrap up, Mark, can I dive a little bit into that element of time
Yes.
and how a sales rep, I guess, controls that or uses that through the negotiation process?
Yeah, the element of time is extremely critical. Now, let's break this apart because if I'm dealing with an RFP, a bid process, I'm going to probably get the sense as to what the time is. That's okay. But many times it's not an RFP. There's no RFP, there's no contract involved, something like that. So what I want to do is I want to begin to understand how quickly do they make a process, how quickly do they make a decision. And again, I can simply ask this question. How have you made decisions like this in the past? You see? So not only are they telling me a little bit about their price value relationship, but they're beginning to share with me how long they may spend in the selling or the investigating process before buying. Now, here's the other way I can do this, and I recommend you do both. When they begin to uncover or share with me what their critical needs are, and these are questions that I've got to ask of you. What what is the real reason as to why you want to replace this equipment? Or what are you looking to do? And I'm looking for strategic answers that I can then begin to pull down into tactical activities. And what they'll begin to share with me if I'm in a B2B situation, well, we have to make sure that we have this equipment up to speed because we have new regulations that are going to be taking effect in, 2 years from now or 18 months from now. Ah, you see what I'm doing? I'm starting to get a sense as to what time is. Or well, we're planning to open up a new division in about 6 months. Okay, that gives me another piece of information. It's amazing how many clues the customers will share with you relative to time. Now, if I were to ask them, so what is your time frame for making a decision? Well, they may share with you something, but you know what? A sharp, negotiating oriented customer is probably going to blow smoke at you. See, they're going to blow smoke at you. They're going to give you a false date to get you off track. So this is why I want to uncover this information in a very relaxed state, kind of like what we're having here. We're just having a discussion. We're just going back and forth, sharing information. And it's amazing. what kind of information I can get out of a person if I'm able to do this from a very relaxed, just exploratory, questioning type of approach.
Okay. I like that, in knowing what's behind the time and what's driving the time that they have makes so much sense, because I think a lot of sales reps and marketers use a discount as a way to accelerate that time frame and create a sense of urgency, which is stupid if you knew what was behind their time frame, and they are not going to accelerate it anyway. Now they can know that lower prices available.
Right. Many times hey, if you buy by the end of the month, I'm going to give you this discount. When you know what? They needed to buy it anyway.
Right.
So all I did was I just gave away profit that I can never, ever recover.
Right.
Period.
Yep. And showed that you're willing to give on your price. So you
Right.
established that precedent.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So this has been incredibly helpful. Thank you very much. Do you have any final words of advice for our viewers?
Well, the final word of advice is this. Price is really a reflection of the confidence, the level of confidence the customer has in both your product offering, whether it be a product or a service, and you. Now, what is very interesting is the more confident you are, the more confident the customer will be. The more confident you are, the more confident you'll be in your process. And as you're more confident in your process, they will increase their level of confidence, and they will be willingly paying you more for your product offering, making you more money.
And that's really your commitment, is win the deal and have a happy customer.
Exactly, because a confident customer is happy. You see, you think about it. The unhappy customer is not only looking for a discount, but they're not confident. So it's amazing how I'm able to not only solidify not just that initial sale, but I'm able to solidify the relationship that customer has with me ongoing because of the level of confidence that they have.
And then you haven't created the buyer's remorse of them thinking, oh, I could have gotten a better deal.
Right, there is none because they're confident. Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Well, thank you so much for helping us all learn how to avoid discounting to win business, so that we can all be high profit sellers.
Thank you so much. Great selling.
Thank you. And thank you to our viewers for tuning in and investing in your own success. The Sales Mastery Summit is here to help you never stop learning from the best. Take care.